Okay, so we've talked a little bit about videos and how I make videos and stuff in the past. I think I've done some content of that sort on this channel before. Um, Today I'm going to be talking about thumbnails and titling. Okay. Over the last probably 2 months, I started to figure out how to hit the YouTube algorithm. The thing you got to understand about the YouTube algorithm is that it is based on two metrics. The first metric is click-through rate. If YouTube shows your video to 100 people and 15% of them click it, so 15 people click it, that's a 15% click-through rate, right? If YouTube shows your video to 8 million people and 1 million of them click it, that's a 1 out of 8, that's a 12.5% click-through rate, right? Click-through rates are relative for topics and for niches. For Amiibo, the click-through rate needs to be pretty damned high. Amiibo is a hyper-competitive niche, thanks to people like Troctopus, like Pop T, like Little Z, like Alphared, like all the years and years of stupid Amiibo shit. But it's a very competitive niche, so you've got to get really fucking good at making good thumbnails. I've got some strawberries here I'm going to be eating as well. These are kick-ass strawberries. I haven't eaten anything in about 24 hours, so I'm going to have me some strawberries. Which is really cool, because like, I started this new diet, and I just don't need to eat as much, and I'm fine. It's really cool. Okay, so I'm going to be showing you probably the 4 thumbnails that I'm most proud of. These are all fairly recent videos. I consider these to be the best thumbnails I've ever made. And I used to think of the thumbnail as a separate thing from the title. It's not. You have to actually start with the title when making the thumbnail, okay? Like literally the first, and I used to think of a video topic first. Ooh, what's something useful I can explain, right? I don't do that anymore. Now I think of a video topic and the title at the same time, okay? I think of something that sounds good, and usually the topic comes from the title that I think of, okay? It sounds kind of weird. I know it does. It sounds kind of weird. But I think of something that's catchy and then make up a topic from there, okay? So you look at this one. These are in no particular order. This is the worst Amiibo. The title on this was the worst Amiibo in Smash, okay? Now, this thumbnail, I thought I did a poor job on it at first. This is a lower resolution than the original image was. I thought I did a bad job of this at first because this was an experimental thumbnail. I'd never really done something of this sort, but it turned out to be pretty damn good. So, as always, you'll notice I have a rainbow border on all of my thumbnails. I'm not going to show you this 4th one because that's a spoiler. You'll have to wait until the end of the video, because that's actually next weekend's video thumbnail. But you'll notice I have a rainbow thumbnail, a rainbow border around my thumbnail. I would highly, highly recommend that you adopt a border. Keep the border the same color. The reason I do a rainbow one is because Amiibo people who like Amiibo really like color. They like a lot of color. Nintendo knows this. That's why they have all these different colors on the Amiibo logo, okay? If you do, this is going to double as an ASMR video. That was a forced laugh, but I had strawberry in my mouth. So forgive me. If you do Amiibo videos, don't use the rainbow, because I'm using the rainbow, so don't use the rainbow. You might you might create sort of a border that uses each of these colors, because Amiibo fans recognize these. I call them winks. It doesn't make sense why, but I call them winks. They recognize these little winks on the side. You can put them anywhere. You actually see these winks on my profile picture as well. So the elements of a thumbnail are pretty straightforward, I think, at least for Smash. You have background, you have foreground, and then you have center. Okay? My background image is almost always something related to what I'm talking about, but sometimes it's aesthetic purposes. So Battlefield right here, it's a Smash Ultimate video. Okay? So you recognize Battlefield, it's a familiar sight. And then you have the corner of the Amiibo tier list. which is good contrast, okay? And the amiibo tier list here is your foreground, all right? Um, Obviously, it contrasts with the rainbow, it contrasts with the battlefield, but it doesn't look bad, right? Then, and part of the reason this was an experiment is because the text isn't centered and it's kind of all cockeyed. Then you have the center, and the center, I can't click and drag, that doesn't work. The center is this text right here, okay? The worst amiibo, all right? Now, when you're looking at this, most of the time, thumbnails are designed to draw your eye to the center, all right? And that works very well. I mean, this Meta Knight's in the center, Link is in the center, right? Usually designed to put you in the center. This is cockeyed. Everything on this is crooked, okay? My theory was, if you're looking at YouTube, you already see this colorful thing, and the color helps attract your attention. But if you're looking at YouTube, you've got a grid of 3 or 4 rows of 4 YouTube thumbnails all lined up perfectly. Okay. Imagine I set down like a checkerboard pattern, but then like on a couple of the tiles, I made them crooked. I angled them. Okay. Those suckers are going to stick out like you can't imagine. They are going to stick out so much, okay? That's what this is, because this is straight, but then it's crooked, and then the text is crooked. So your eye is drawn to something that's already very out of place, right? White text, black outline is pretty standard. I did a white shadow on this because it's against a darker background, and so I wanted it to stand out just a little more. Shadows are usually not... Shadows are like makeup, okay? My channel, on this channel, is mostly men, so we're going to talk as men here. Fellas, when your lady comes and says, do you like my makeup? Okay, you're going to notice like the eyeshadow, and you're going to notice the lipstick. But you're not going to notice the foundation, you're not going to notice the bronzer, you're not going to notice the contouring, you're not going to notice the eyebrow plucking. You're not going to see that. You're going to be like, there's something about her that looks more appealing, right? But you're not going to be able to put your finger on it because you're a guy, and that's an attention to detail that you haven't recognized, right? That's what proper outlining is. That's what shadowing is. Like, you'll notice right here, I outlined Amiibo. I was going to outline the tier list, but I couldn't find a setting that really I liked. I outlined that. That's only a 2 pixel wide white outline. Maybe it's 3, I don't know. Okay. I didn't do a drop shadow for that either because I wasn't really sure. This wasn't really sure about, whether this would work or not. But so I went for the outline, right? And it worked. I used the Amiibo logo. I guess my rendition of the Amiibo logo, because technically the Amiibo logo is thinner than this. This is Bauhaus 93. The Amiibo logo is a thinner version of Bauhaus 93. But anyway, so no, but it worked, and the elevator pitch works really well. Remember, the title is The Worst Amiibo in Smash, okay? But just looking at this thumbnail, you don't even need the title. You don't even need the title. Because if you're familiar with Smash, oh, there's Ken. Oh, there's Game & Watch. That's weird. They're in D+, because the Amiibo tier list is fucking weird. The Worst Amiibo, right? So it makes you interested. The interest in this case, the curiosity in this case, comes from, well, if Ken and Game & Watch and Sheik are all like, who's in D+ tier, right? So all I did, it was very simple to make, actually. I took an Amiibo tier list. I just color sampled this gray, and then I blocked it out so you couldn't tell who the worst Amiibo is. And then the video itself is a debate over who's the worst Amiibo in Smash. That's it. Let's go to the next one. This one I didn't expect. I really thought that this thumbnail was going to suck as well, because I hadn't figured out the principles yet that I'm telling you right now. Like, this stuff has only been in my head for 2 weeks. Okay? Like, titling and thumbnails, I really never put them together until about 2 weeks ago. Okay? Or until about a month and a half ago, but the mechanics of it all didn't make sense. This one is from a video called We Messed Up the Amiibo Tier List. Okay? So, a bit of content strategy in this one. All right? pretty much the only three things that get searched on YouTube for amiibo in any real volume is amiibo training, amiibo tier list, raid boss amiibo, or some strongest amiibo, and then it's like creator specific stuff. Okay, so I thought, okay, I'm not doing a raid boss amiibo. Fuck that shit. So then I'm looking at the Amiibots tier list that got posted in my Discord, and I was like, okay, well, this is interesting. I have some flaws with this. And then a thought occurred to me. There are tier list positions here that are wrong. Now, if I had titled, there are tier list positions that are wrong, that doesn't mean, like shut the fuck up. Like, get out of here. That's a terrible title, right? But if I titled it, we messed up the amiibo tier list, well, that's interesting. What did you mess up? What did you mess up? Okay, so then I put Meta Knight up here. I put the Meta Knight amiibo, not the render, but the amiibo itself. If you can figure out how to get a transparent render of an amiibo, good for you. Those are fairly easy to find. But I put the Meta Knight render. Funnily enough, the original image had this white line on it, which I was never able to take off. But, and then I just put fire behind him. Like, that's it. And then I had the amiibo tier list behind this with a slight vignette to provide contrast. Because you still have the rainbow border, but you've got the colorful Meta Knight with a two or three white pixel outline. No drop. I put a drop shadow on him, but I don't think it helped much. So you can see it's right, drop shadow right there. Then fire. We messed up the amiibo tier list. Oh my god, Meta Knight is burning the amiibo tier list. So what this looks like, okay, if you're scrolling through YouTube and you're seeing this, and you're familiar at all with amiibo training, or just with Smash, okay? If you're familiar with Smash, Brawl Meta Knight, that's a thing, right? If you're familiar with amiibo training, Meta Knight's not good. He's like C+ tier or something like that, right? And so the thumbnail suggests that, hey, Meta Knight is setting the tier list on fire. And I chose Meta Knight, not because of Brawl. That didn't occur to me until afterwards. I chose Meta Knight because he's one of the 2 or 3 amiibo I mentioned in that video as having been misplaced in the tier list. Funnily enough, USAC came out with a new tier list like a week after, and they put him up a tier into like B tier after that, which I think is a correct placement. So I'll take full credit for that. Never mind the Meta Knight amiibo trainers that have worked very hard. It's all me, baby. Anyway, but no, and so on a technical level, this is very simple. This is just 4 images. I didn't do anything special with the fire. I just found a transparent fire image. The fire is contrast. It's yellow and red. Those are 2 colors that people pay the most attention to. Why do you think McDonald's is yellow and red? And then you've got it against like the cooler colors of purple and blue and grayish, right? And so that just stands out really, really good. Then the question, we messed up the amiibo tier list, is, oh my god, how did you mess up, right? If you tell people a thing that happened, but you tell them in such a way that you get them to ask why, that why is probably your third most powerful asset in building a good click-through rate. Okay. So the why. There's one that's more important, and the one, I just showed you that last one, damn it. The one that's the most important, this was the first 3-minute video, I guess it was 6 minutes, that really, really hit the algorithm and hit it hard. Pulled like 2,500 views. This was when I realized, this was, the Amiibo Revolution was the video that sort of clued me into how titles work, right? So, the title of this video is literally just The Amiibo Revolution, okay? And this thumbnail is basically split in half. At the bottom half, you've got all these grayed out amiibo figures. In retrospect, I shouldn't have put as many of them because it's really hard, and I should have organized them a bit better so their faces were visible, because it's really hard to tell who's who. And that's where the text is, The Amiibo Revolution. Big, bold text. You'll notice this is font from The Legend of Zelda, because Link is up here, right? Outline, drop shadow on everything, And then up top, we have in the clouds, it's a nice, beautiful scenery. And we have Link. Link is outlined. Link has a drop shadow. The reason I use drop shadows is because Link physically looks like he's coming out of the screen. That's drop shadows. They give you depth to your images, okay? So it's split in half is the design of this thumbnail, right? Now the title is the Amiibo Revolution. Now if you're not familiar with Amiibo, okay, you're wondering what the fuck is going on here? Which is a correct question because what the fuck is going on here? Like, why? Let me make sure that this is okay. Good. What do you mean by the Amiibo Revolution? Revolution is an action word. Revolution indicates that something interesting has happened. This is why you see Revolution in all those car commercials, even though it's like the exact same car that they put out last year. It's like, this is the revolutionary new Nissan with bigger wheels and chairs. I mean, it's like, oh my god, it's so revolutionary, but it's not. It's just the fucking same chair, right? In this case, the Amiibo Revolution, the word revolution actually does apply because it's a video about the moonwalk method and its results and how it's taking over Amiibo stuff, right? And so the title does have to be connected, okay? But not that connected. You don't want to give away too much in the thumbnail or in the title. So what I do, like I said, I come up with a title first and then create a video based on that. I always start with the word the. And then if I change it later, I change it later. But I start with the word the. It's like, okay, what do you want to talk about? The Amiibo Revolution. The mistakes in the Amiibo tier list. The, what was the other one? Worst Amiibo. That's it. That's all it takes. There's another channel. I think it's a decently similar format. It's called Freezai or something like that. Freezai. Freezai. It's really up and coming right now. It's a competitive Pokemon channel. His thumbnails aren't great, but his titling is. Why Agility and Rap was banned in competitive Gen 1 UUU. Yeah. And that works for him because people are expecting Pokemon content and there's a lot more Pokemon fans. So, like, you know, it's not as competitive. So you can have kind of a longer title. How Drifloon unexpectedly broke Little Cup. How to beat Mewtwo in competitive Generation 1. How I won Pokemon Showdown's biggest tournament. Right? It tells you, but it tells you what the subject is, but it doesn't tell you anything about it. And that's good. We want that, right? And so you just, you look at these things and each one leaves you asking a question. In this case, the question is, what is the worst Amiibo? In this case, the question is, what happened to the Amiibo tier list? In this case, the question is, why is Link rising above a pile of Amiibo corpses? Like, it's a weird question. So then, next week's video is about the random Amiibo. Okay. The random Amiibo is a thing that modders kind of put in, but it's also kind of in the game. And so basically, I'm explaining if you mod an Amiibo to scan in as a random character, it'll function just fine. And then I'm talking about how that shit works, right? And I'm going to call it the secret Amiibo. I'm going to say, hey, this works in the game. Sakurai is holding out on us, right? And this is the... I'll probably put maybe a 1 or 2 pixel outline on the Amiibo just so I can get the winks to show up properly. I tried to drop shadow for this random thing right here, but this one is very simple, okay? Remember how I said your eyes were drawn to the center? Well, it's in the center. It's very obvious. The title of this, by the way, is going to be The Secret Amiibo. Maybe The Secret Amiibo in Smash. The word in Smash is really for SEO. It's so that YouTube is like, oh, I know, I'll show this to more people who like Smash. But I might not do that. But no, if you look at the design of this, okay? Look at the design real quick. You've got this bright light green and blue thing, okay? You've got this gray background. Then you've got a rainbow border. That's a lot of contrast. That's a lot of contrast, just in that alone. Black and white text sort of stands out on its own. It's got outlines. I never put a... No, I did. I put a much dimmer shadow on that because I wanted to have this thing in the center stand out. I put a drop shadow on the word Amiibo. But then it's very clear what I want you to focus on. I want you to focus on this. Look at this. There is no random Amiibo in Vanilla Smash. There's none. It's not a thing. So what the hell is this? right? And that's the catch. The question of what the hell is this? That is your number 2 most powerful thing in generating a click through rate. Not, oh, this is weird, or oh, this is creepy, but oh, I'm interested in this. What is this? Okay? That's how this is played. All right. Now, the number 1 most powerful is off limits. That's pornography. We don't do that shit. So basically, what the hell is this is your best option. So if you can figure out, okay, here's something I have, and it's interesting to you, okay, they'll click it. That's how thumbnails work, right? And if you start, literally just open up YouTube, scroll through YouTube, and see, like, ignore the YouTube shorts because there's really no point in doing that. But if you look through all of the thumbnails, just get on YouTube. I've got Giga Chad theme, so it's like a shadowy Giga Chad looking dude, and he's grabbing the world. I've got some podcast. What will you do come the revolution? It's like this bright orange communist holding a sickle and scythe. I've got Mad Boy, which is the cop from the Lego movie, stretched out and with red, right? And there's all of these thumbnails. And so if you just scroll through and you're like, oh, okay, that's the technique that he's using to get my interest. And sometimes there's not. Sometimes there's bad thumbnails. That is a thing. That is absolutely a thing. If you scroll, what was that YouTube setting? If you go to explore, go to trending. I'm on YouTube mobile, right? I'm seeing a Mr. Beast video. 100 girls versus 100 boys for $500,000, okay? This hits every thumbnail trick ever. All of them. On the left, you've got bright blue boys lined up, okay? They're looking mad. You can see their faces. Faces are a big deal. On the right, you've got girls in hot pink. They're all in tracksuits, right? The uniformity is a little bit weird. It's all bright colors. You've got bright green turf. Then you've got Mr. Beast looking like he's getting sucked off. Bright eyes. He's got white light on him. Definitely against a green screen, right? And then you've got the striped like referee thing, okay? There's tons and tons and tons of contrast in this one thumbnail. Then you got the blue sky and all that. And it looks so bizarre. And then you look at the title, 100 girls versus 100 boys for $500,000. What do you mean? Okay, so you got numbers. Numbers seem to do really well. Top 10, that's why top 10 videos took off on YouTube a while back. Top 10 video, top 10, Watch Mojo basically made a career out of that shit, right? Then you got, and seriously, find this video. I'm serious. 100 girls versus 100 boys. What does it mean to be versus 100 boys? What does that mean? I don't know. The thumbnail doesn't tell us. We don't know, so we have to click on it because we have to find out, right? And of course, they put 100 girls first because most of YouTube is men, and so men are going to be more interested in girls. You see what I'm saying? Like, you can pick up on these things and start to incorporate them as you go on. You know, it's not that hard, and it gets a lot more intuitive. But really, a lot of it is in the technical stuff. Putting outlines on your text, putting drop shadows on some of your images, using recognizable images, using bizarre images, just whatever you can do to get people to ask, what the hell is going on? I'm interested in this. Works. You know what I'm saying? So that's how to make thumbnails. That's your YouTube thumbnail right there. Use whatever Photoshop you want. I use Pixlr. I think I talked about that before. So that's how to make thumbnails.